Well, I have to ask a question. How many of you have had a defining moment in time that maybe changed your whole world? Well, today we are going to be exploring all of the notions about time. So, are you ready? Let's talk. Well, hello to my fabulous guests. I'm Joy Willett, and I'm your Fab Five host for today. And I'd like to go around our room here. And would you tell us who you are and where you're beaming in from? Dagmar, let's start with you.
Well, hello, Joy. Welcome, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here in this moment of time to talk about time. I'm Dagmar Fleming, and I'm founder of Unlock Your Success mentorship programs for entrepreneurs that want to accelerate time to get their results faster in a bigger, bolder way.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dorina, let's go with you. Just say your name and where you're beaming in from. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Dorina Lanza, and I am beaming in from Palm Beach, Florida.
Awesome. Awesome. Galit, where are you coming in from?
Hey, Joy. Hey, everyone. I'm here in sunny California in a little town called Ojai. It's just south of Santa Barbara, a little between LA, a little between Santa Barbara.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And Jason.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here. My name is Jason Jurado, and I'm coming from Winters, California, which is about 30 minutes west of Sacramento. I'm just happy to be here.
We're happy you all are here. Thank you for joining us. And, it's kind of a timely topic, isn't it, on today, right? But let's listen into one of our guests here and see what she has to say.
Hi, Galit Reuben here, coming to you from Ojai, California, thinking about the concept of time. We all have 24 hours in a day. Doesn't matter your level of success, doesn't matter your age, we all have 24 hours. So we can chase it, or we can make it our friend. Choose that time as our friend. It's all our focus and intention of how to approach time. So I invite you, I'm excited to discuss the notion of time, how we can just choose that it's always on our side and always working on our behalf. Discover more about how time is always on our side.
Oh, I love that, Galit. Time is always on our side. Before I have you come in and share a little bit more about what you mean personally, Galit, I'm going to ask our guests to just give a couple of thoughts on what you just said. Dorina, let's start with you.
Well, it's very interesting. And when you look at time from a 3D 5 sense perspective, that's absolutely correct. You want to maximize everything you can do and elongate it as much as you can. And it's an issue of perspective. So I completely agree with you from that sense. And I have a slightly different view, which you will see when my video goes. But you are absolutely correct. And I agree with you.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Yeah, we look forward to everyone's perspectives today. It's going to be so much fun. Jason?
Unfortunately, I have a couple technical issues, and that's what happens with these things. And we just show up as we show up, and so I'm not able to see the videos. But I am looking forward to learning from everyone today.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll put out that something zaps you there so that you can see the videos. Dagmar, what say you?
Well, I love our conversation today because from the standpoint of physics, both Newtonian and quantum time is more elastic than we give it thought to. And as we have this discussion, we will discover that as measured in labs, time depends on the speed, on where you are. And there are so many factors that actually make us ask, do we really have the same 24 hours in a day?
Ooh, that's going to be a fun one to delve into. Let's bring up you right now, Galit, and I'd love for you to share some of your wisdom and your gleanings, a few thoughts about time.
Well, I remember when I made that little video when you reached out and said, hey, say something about time. It was a perfect timing. Boy, we're going to be full of them today, aren't we? It was really perfect timing because I myself was toying with what is being present, how to be more present. And while being more present, it feels like time is on your side. It's like you make more time. As a manifestation coach, everything is energy. Like attracts like. And therefore, if you keep putting out there, I don't have enough time, you keep chasing time, which was, trust me, most of my life. I felt like I was always chasing that train, always the last one, like trying to get on that train for the new year. The new year train is leaving the station and I'm still making plans and never to arrive. That's been my life. Now, getting ahead of time means that I am in choice of it at all times, but I must be aware that I'm in choice of it.
Oh, I love that. That's great. We're going to have a lot more to share here, I can tell. But first, let's go into another video here, another offering by one of our guests.
Hello, my name is Jason Jurado. It's all about time, and isn't that the truth? When I think about this topic about time, and I think about why it's personally important to me, I have to look at my focus is on positive mental health. And time really plays a part in that. And so when you think about time, it's what do you make time for? You know, we all have a certain amount of time, but what are you making time for? Are you making time for things that are part of your purpose and your passion and things that really drive you to a happier life? Or are you making time for distractions? And I think we find ourselves doing that a fair amount of time. And so that's one thing to look at is with time, we can spend it any way we choose, spend it wisely. And also, while you're spending that time, so to speak, what are you doing when you're doing that? Are you enjoying it? Are you being present? Or are you thinking about a bunch of different things? Are you ruminating about the past or thinking about the future? It's so important to be fully present and enjoy each moment of each time. As the saying goes, be here now. I think that's so important. And so to me personally, those are the two things about time that really touch the spirit of why time is so important.
Wow. I mean, each little nugget of wisdom, Jason and Galit, and I know also with Dagmar and Dorina, we could spin off a whole other, we could take a lot of time talking about time, can't we? So for those of you, I'm going to bring Jason on last here again. Galit, I'd like you to, what did Jason spur within your heart about time?
Wow, it's right along the lines of the now and the past. Now, I love that you said that because most of us focus on everything that we do based on our past. Therefore, we're giving the power to the past, but we are creating the future from the now moment. Therefore, with our focus and our action, right, in the now, when we give the power to the past, we're in limitations because the past already happened. It no longer exists. That's powerful. So let go of the past.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Dagmar, how about you? What did you get off of Jason's thoughts and feelings about time? What happened for
I
you?
really appreciate the points that Jason is making because, we go through life and use the time to exist or maybe to create. And the question is, what do we give priority to? Because as the time passes, so does our life. So are we using time to expand, to accelerate, to create more for ourselves and for those we love and want to impact? Or are we losing time on other people's concepts, other people's perspectives, somebody else's priorities? I think the time comes in our lives when we have to reevaluate and really take stock of how we are using time. Because
Oh,
even though it's infinite in the universe, for our physical existence, there is a finite amount of it.
absolutely. And I want to remind everybody, there's going to be a lot of wisdom nuggets here. So write those things down. Okay, Dorina, how about you? What say you, dear?
Well, again, excellent points. And you can stretch time, you can shrink time, but the whole key is maximizing what you're able to do with time while you're here in this temporary 3D 5 sense environment that we've all been thrown into.
Okay, good. Jason, we are now going to hear from you, the maestro of that beautiful video. So tell
Thank you.
us a little more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and it's the beauty of what most of us do and what I do and what we're here for is there's an art and a science to all of this. And I love that we have a lot of the science folks here that can speak to that. So I'm gonna take that hat off. I'm gonna set that to the side so I don't have to get into those details. But so coming up from it from the aspect of time outside of the clock and what time is as we float through this universe and we go through this world and everything, and talked about being here now. And the studies have shown that we have about 60 80,000 thoughts a day, and around 49% of those are about something other than where we're currently at. So we're ruminating about the past or we're worrying about the future.
Mm.
But when does time happen? Time happens now. There is only now. And the past happens now and the future happens now. So when you're thinking about these other things, where are you? So you can look at and project out time and say, oh, well, this is going to be in 3 hours, but you're there. If you're thinking about it, you're currently there. So be present in every moment, because that is where your life lives. And we talk about that in Buddhism about, not to go, I keep it short. We only have so much time. And, if you look at, they talk about all life is suffering, and that comes from attraction or aversion. We say, well, we like this, so it's going to take it time that goes on forever. Or we don't like, or it goes by fast rather. We don't like this. Oh, it takes forever. So our perspective can change time at any moment.
Oh, wow. Okay, one moment. Absolutely, Jason. I mean, my goodness. I'm in the presence of such wisdom keepers about time, Thank you, Jason, and everybody. So let's go have another person share her thoughts, and then we'll see what we want to spin off of that.
What is time? You probably have 20 tasks to do, a meeting to run to, kids to pick up from school, and you're simply running out of time. But what if there was a way to bend the matrix of time? What if you could use 10 minutes and stretch it so you can pack an hour of work into that short period of time? Let's talk about this and so much more about the nature of time.
Oh, I'm intrigued, Dagmar. I'm intrigued. So again, I'm going to play this wonderful game here. And again, if one of my guests just has a burning desire to share something, raise your hand and we'll put you in the spotlight. Dorina, I'm going to have you say a few words. Dagmar's, or just what's coming up for you there?
Everything everybody has said is absolutely true in this frame. And yes, you can stuff a whole pile of stuff into the same hours that I have, and I may not be able to stuff as much stuff into it because you know how to wield time in this particular environment in a way that maybe I don't. And I think Dagmar did a great job giving this. It's a brief overview, but yeah, it's a great perspective. So I absolutely agree.
Fabulous. Thank you, Dorina. How about you, Galit? I feel that something bubbling up in you there.
Yeah, I'm thinking a lot about time. I love all the notions that we're saying here, right? And I feel like we want to actually learn and get tips of how we can use all this information to make time work for us. So how do we stay in flow? So I think it's about really choosing to flow through time.
I love that. And we had a comment come up that was really beautiful. It was, I wonder if we could put that back up, from Gloria Grace about flowing through time. Yeah, there it is. This is what Gloria Grace, one of our Fab Five hosts, just said. I love when I get in the flow. Time just flies by. But when I'm stuck, time can drag. Who's ever felt that before? I know I have. Yeah, when I'm stuck or in an emotional state. Perfect. Jason, how about your thoughts, and then we'll get to Dagmar.
The thing that came to mind is that our present moment holds infinite creative power. So, we talk about putting things into those 10 minutes or that minute or whatever we do with time. But as we step back, and this is a little more higher level, but you've got the opportunity to make things happen within that time. And if you get stuck in, well, I only have so much time to get this done, you can focus on, what do I want to create in this moment? And creation opens us up to everything. So it gives us that opportunity to really bend time to our will.
Ooh. I love that. So with that in mind, that's a great segue for Dagmar to share her thoughts. Dagmar, what say you?
Well, I love the notion of time. And for those of you who are watching us, if you ever see a clock that says exactly 111 or 333, usually we look at that and think, wow, what a coincidence. I woke up exactly at 2:22 in the morning. But the question is twofold. One, is it a coincidence? But more importantly, how do you know it's actually 2 o'clock in the morning with 22 minutes past? Because one, we measure time by different factors. There are calendars. There's a Mayan calendar that has more months than our Gregorian one. So who's right about time? And can you really confirm that my time is the same as yours? So we talk a lot about being in the present moment, being in the now, and this is very important naturally. But even from the standpoint of science, now is a local notion, because when we look at the universe, when we look at the star, by the time the light travels to Earth, we are already perceiving the past. So can we be in the now moment with absolutely everyone else? Joyce's now, even though she's on this call with me, is completely different than mine. So I think the moment we allow ourselves to be more elastic about the nature of time, we can actually start playing with it, have fun, and throw a lot of productivity in stretching the matrix.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dagmar, that so many, I hope people are writing these things down or whatever touches or come back on the replay to listen to this again. I certainly am because there's so many nuggets of wisdom in each person's perception here and sharings and offerings. So with that, we are going to go into oh, oh, I am hearing a recording. That's interesting. We're doing some weird things with sound and time and everything here.
We're really bending it.
We are bending it. We're dancing with it. So here we go. And here's our next guest.
Time. It doesn't exist, at least not in the way we think. What we call time is just a construct, a tool for navigating perception. In higher dimensions, it disappears. Everything that was, is, and ever can be exists all at once. Look at it this way. Think of an ant on a line. The ant can only see where it is at a particular moment. It thinks things change as time passes. But from a higher perspective, say, I don't know, you're looking down at this line from your perspective. You're up here, the line's down there. Well, we see the entire path all at once. We see what the ant thinks is past, present, and future. They're not unfolding. They've always been there, and we can see it from our three-dimensional view. This isn't just theory. Podolsky and Lanza's 2016 paper on quantum decoherence in gravity proves there's no such thing as objective time, or even objective reality for that matter. So the real question is, if time is just a construct, how are you choosing to experience it?
Wow, Dorina. I was going to say Dagmar too, because you were talking about the objectiveness about time. And Dagmar was saying, not one of us experiences time in the exact same way. Ants on a line. I wonder what we look like up above, if, from up in space or in the sky, right? All of us running around. Galit, what do you think?
I just love that. And yes, even though we all have 24 hours in a day, we certainly have a completely different perception of it. So beautifully said. Now, that being said, we assume that it should take a certain amount of time to have something or to get somewhere. Well, if there's no thing as time, it's just our manifestation or creation of how long we think things have to be. Why not instantaneous?
You know what? Hold that thought, and everyone hold their thoughts. We have a special announcement right now. I saw a lot of purple hearts, so here we go. And for those of you who may not know what all those purple hearts are about, we have a Purple Hearts Club. And it's to remember those that we love who have left, especially a couple of people and one in particular. So, there we go. Yes. So thank you, Galit, for your thoughts. Dagmar, what spurred you with Dorina's?
Well, I love this entire conversation because, ultimately, how does it matter in our everyday life? And I think when we start realizing that we have capacity to speed up the manifestation of our goals, that we could bend the matrix of time and realize our dreams, what would it take? And what you will probably notice is that as you rise in your awareness, as your consciousness expands, you are in a way moving through time faster, while really bending the matrix and having time, more time to conceptualize what is it that I wanted to accomplish in my life. In other words, you dream of getting a new job, and within a few weeks, an offer comes through. So in other words, you can align with the idea of what you want to create in a much faster way. And from the standpoint of physics, it is actually proven and measurable in labs that the time is the function of the speed, but also of where you are. So if we start using time to our advantage, just like Galit said earlier, how are you using time? Jason was talking about prioritization. Dorina was talking about don't get hung up on the notion of time. When you are more flexible with yourself, if you're not telling yourself to get $2 million in my business, I need that much time. If you put 10 years ahead of yourself, you are locking yourself out of possibility of condensing that time and manifesting dream faster. So let's play with time to our advantage instead of disadvantage.
I love that. Let's play with time to our advantage and using the concepts of time, making time our friend, right? I think that's what we're all saying in the different ways that we can learn about. Jason, a few simple thoughts from you, and then we're going to bring Dorina to the front to explain a few of her ants on a log or whatever, right?
Yeah, just want to add real quick is that, love this conversation, by the way. It's wonderful. But, we do, and we all inherently see time differently. And we can change time to our own, which is great. But that's why we have clocks. Because at some point, like today, we had to meet at a certain time today. So if all of our time, the way we see time was different for all of us, that could be something very challenging. They say herding kittens, sometimes getting people together. So clocks and times and calendars do serve a purpose. But for the bigger metaphysical part, yes, we are moving through our own time. So it's important to just reflect on those two sides.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, Jason. That was absolutely perfect and brilliant. And let's bring in Dorina here to explain. I mean, let's see. What can I ask you, Dorina? Talk a little more about time being, and again, keeping it simple for me, girlfriend, about time being simultaneously happening at once. Tell me more.
Well, first of all, I figured this out back in elementary school, so this is not new.
Oh.
And I realized that there was no such thing as time, and I want to show you a couple of things in a second. One that I thought of before and one that came up in this discussion. But I don't do time. For instance, I'm walking on the beach today. You're going nuts. Where is she? Oh my God, is she going to be here in time? And I'm like, I knew I needed to be here at a particular hour, and I was just going to be here. So I've never succumbed to the, oh my God, I don't have enough time to do something. I either do it or I don't. And just the concept of running out of time and that kind of thing has never really registered, or has not in many, many decades. Secondly, as far as accelerating time here, I found a prop. Let's say you're the famous ant and you're on this piece of paper and you got to go. I know this sucks, but that's okay. The ant's here and it's got to go there, and it thinks it's got to go walk all the way here. No, you go like this. Poof, you're there already. You fold the environment so that time collapses and you get stuff done. And it's an issue of beingness. So many people overthink. And the last point I wanted to make, and I know we have, I could talk about this for hours, and the integral differential equations that prove that there is no such thing as objective time, but then you told me to keep it simple, so I won't do that. But if you think of it, and I was looking for a ball. I couldn't find a ball, but reminds me of a story. There's a very cool book called Flatland, a romance in many dimensions. It was written by Edwin Abbott back in the 1800s. And the whole thing with time is that depending on the perspective from which you view it, much like seeing the ant going along a line, the ant thinks the time is passing, but you see the whole line. Think of it this way. A sphere came to visit the square, who's living in 2 dimensions. So the square is living here. It does not know up and down. It only knows being on the surface. And the sphere shows up and is speaking to him from 3 dimensions, higher dimensions. He hears the sphere and he's like, am I going crazy? What's going on? And the sphere is trying to explain to him what it's like to live in 3 dimensions. And I think everybody knows what a sphere is. It's a ball, right? Couldn't find a ball, but I did find this African gourd. So we will use this as a simulation. So what does the sphere do? It simulates what it looks like because this square that's on this plane cannot conceive of it. And it goes through the plane. I'm not getting the angle very well. And what happens? As it touches the plane, it looks like a dot. Then as it starts going through the plane, it becomes a circle, which gets bigger from the perspective of the square that's living on the plane. And then as it continues traversing, it gets smaller and then to a point and then disappears. So from the perspective of the square living on the plane, the square thinks time is passing, but in 3 dimensions, the sphere exists as one, as a thing, always. Time is not a function, and it's a recursive thing. If you have n dimensions, you have the same issue. You've got to view it from n+1 dimensions, and you see the thing. And now I'm going to get too complex, so I will stop now.
Let's do this. I'm going to do this, Dorina. That was wild. That was wild. I loved it. I loved it. We could go on, and I have more questions. My gosh. Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. People are taking massive notes. There's so many incredible wisdom from these experts here, guys. I mean, everyone here is noted in how they actually perceive time, work with time, as you could see, especially Dorina, Dagmar, coming from very scientific and other dimensional perspectives. Jason coming in with his wisdom about the notion of time and everything being in the now. Okay, yeah. And Galit also about manifestation. Everybody here, I'm so blessed by you being here. And I wish we had more time to allow you to all go into your expertises, because it's absolutely amazing. So right now, what I'd like to do is share something that we are in with the Fab Show. And it's our beautiful, here it is. And it's something I want you to think about, this audience and my guests here. What does this make you feel and think about when it comes to time after watching this?
In the quiet moments, when the sun begins to rise, we find the strength within us. In the stories of our lives, not in gold or glory, but in hearts we've touched with grace, in the love we share with others, in each kind and gentle face. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. Through the trials and the triumphs, in the battles that we fight, it's the courage and the kindness that will always shine so bright. In the lessons that we teach and the dreams that we inspire, in the way we lift each other higher and higher. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you held, in the souls you helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. In the final song you sung, and the curtains drawing near, it's the moments filled with love that will echo year to year. In the footprints on the path that guide the lost and blind, your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held, in the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. So let's live with open hearts and give with all our might, for the legacy we leave is a beacon in the night, in the echoes of our actions, in the whispers of the wind. Our legacy of love is where it all begins. Our legacy of love is where it all begins.
Your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind.
Wow, that always makes me feel about how short a time we sometimes have on this earth. And so I'd like to go around and ask you what you think after listening to that. And Jason, you might want to mute yourself, dear, if you can. There's a little bit of rustle, I think, happening there. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like we never have enough time with those that we love, especially. Yeah, and that's what Tamara's saying. Our legacy of love is where it all begins. And Steampunk Poe wrote that and produced that beautiful song. And it's so, you know, when it comes down to, do we ever have enough time, either for our own lives or with those that we love? Dagmar, I'm going to start with you here.
Well, Jason opened us with his video talking about how we prioritize our time. And then, you know, when we look at this entire conversation, I'm going right now through a period of reflection upon the time I've spent with my pet, who's coming towards the end of his time. And as I reflect on time, the question becomes, how are we going to take the legacy of time? In other words, are we going to focus on the fact that the time is shortening, that it's being taken away, that it's coming to an end? Or are we going to look at the stretch of time, the ability to have been playing with the pet for a period of time and really savoring those moments, really using that time-space continuum, to get a little bit geeky, and really cherish and value this. So as we look at time, we tend to look into the future, but do we actually have future? Like, if we really think about it, we're always in the present moment. We do have access to memories from the past. The Newtonian physics, quantum physics prove that the law of physics work in both directions, both past and the future. But can we ever really observe the future? Can we live in the future? Can we bring it forward? Or is it only this moment that we have? So what are we doing in this moment? Are we really maximizing the moment for our joy and satisfaction in life, pleasure, or are we losing it on things that are really unimportant? Where is the love in our life, and are we using time for love?
Oh, I love that end part, Dagmar, because for a lot of people, it kind of gets to that point, like when they're ready to go, no matter how old they are, it's almost like that age-old question: did you love enough? I mean, did you follow your heart, your own passion, your mission, and all of that good stuff? But what would people, there's a great, I'm just going to throw this in. There's this great book called, something like the 5 things people who are dying, want to say. It's an actual book. And Galit, I'm going to bring you up to share some thoughts, a few thoughts here too, because it's that notion about, what is our time really here? What are we here for? Well, that could be a really broad question. So let's find that. Let's tip that into something nugget size. Yeah.
First of all, sorry to hear, Dagmar. The first thing that I thought of when you said that is time heals also, and that we are timeless. So when we are present, we have nothing but time. And to answer your question, Joy, I heard someone say a brilliant statement. So it's not mine, but I'll repeat it. We are human beings. Okay, you're a human being. What are you being? What are you being? Because all you can do is be. And time allows us to become. That movie, that video you shared, it was so beautiful. It was about legacy. What is legacy? It takes time. It takes wisdom. It takes growth. It takes so much. And you can't have it without time.
Oh, gosh. I could listen to all of you for hours upon hours, because you're all so, you know how to put these concepts into this beautiful framework that I'm just drinking up in my soul and my heart. So thank you. Jason, I'm going to bring you up here to also share your thoughts, your feelings, and your wisdom here for a few moments. And for some reason, it likes to jump around here. So
Thank you so much. So the thing that, and sorry for the ruffling of the feathers over here, the papers, what I was looking for, another project I'm working on, but it has the quote that I was looking for. The death of Ivan Ilovich, where towards the end of that book, he says, what if my whole life was wrong? And we don't want to be there. We want to recognize now that we have what time we have now until we pass on to where we pass on to. Let's make the best of it. Just we're talking about savoring life, using the example of potato chips or maybe some cookies, if you have a small bag, and we go through and we're watching TV and we're doing whatever, reading a book, and we're eating them, and you get to those last couple cookies, those last couple chips, and ooh, these are the last ones. I'm going to really savor these. Why didn't we savor each and every one? Because each and every one can be treated that way. And that's every moment in our lives. Treat each and every moment in your life as it's that last cookie, and you'll find so much more joy and bliss in your life. And then the last couple things is that from the indigenous side, life is story. Whether it's Jungian or indigenous shamanic, life is all story. So what story are you telling yourself about those moments that you have? Why not make it the most amazing story that you want to read, the book you can't put down? And the last thing I'll leave with is everything in our lives lives on in eternity, because when we pass on from this place, we take it with us. So everything we do is eternal. So let's make that biggest splash that we can with the time that we have.
Wow. I mean, I'm kind of speechless after hearing every single one of you, in terms of just the wow factor, and I'll have to fill in the factor, of course, you know. So, Dorina, thank you. Jason, thank you. Galit and Dagmar. And Dorina, what say you?
Well, I had a very interesting conversation with a client the other day. Well, she thought it was very interesting. I'm not sure I thought it was very interesting. But anyway, the issue was she's very tied. And by the way, I love that video, you know, all about the legacy and all that. And she is still in the stages of, oh, my parents, and oh, you know, they died a few years ago, and she's just missing them, and then this and that, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. I said, look, Rochelle, I mean, come on. Look at it this way. And I talked to her about the fact that there is no objective time and how it works in n dimensions. And I explained to her that anything she misses right now, it's okay. Just chill. After you're out of here, you can go do it again as many times as you want, because it's all there, because everything that is, has been, and ever can be already exists. And in fact, I'm putting together a tome on consciousness and the nature of reality that gets into all this, you know, from the, you know, being a mathematician from the physics perspective, and you know, also a little bit of the more metaphysical perspective, weaving together the whole theory of everything. And I find that people in this 3D 5 senses are really missing the bigger picture of what happens after we're no longer experiencing this thing. Legacy is all wonderful and all that, but there is so much more. And I believe that people need to be illuminated to that fact.
Yes, that's a whole other topic too, the time after time, right? And there's songs. I mean, there's how many songs about time? I mean, there's a song called Time After Time, and it's all about time. There's movies, there's everything has something to do with the notion of time, right? And yes, wow, Dorina, wow, Dagmar, wow, Galit, and wow, Jason. You guys are like, I'm having to rein in. I feel like I've got these incredible horses that I'm, you know, that you all are, and you all are powerhouses and just beautiful wisdom keepers with every notion about time that you're sharing here today. And I want to thank you all. So I would like, we've got a little bit of time left, just a few minutes. So if you've got something you want to share, just like final parting thoughts, Galit, you go first, because I saw that little nod going on.
Thank you. Well, I have 2 points. I think one is about regret and living in the past, because that takes time to live in regret and live in the past. It takes time away from your present and therefore your future. And so my suggestion, and how I tell this to myself all the time, is trust that timing is divine. Your timing is divine, and let go of the how. You just trust in divine timing, and you don't have to worry about how it's going to show up. You just follow your inspiration.
That was a mic drop for me. I had to do that. I had to do that. Trust in the timing, and it's divine. You betcha. You betcha. That's a whole, yeah, trusting in it, trusting in it. And so when we do that, Jason, what happens, do you think, when we trust in the divine about our time?
You know, what I was thinking of, and it fits right into that, is that from the Tao Te Ching from Laozi, it says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And that's
Mm.
it. You know, you trust in it and trust in the seasons and trust in the cyclical nature of everything. And we are part of nature. And knowing that it's going to show up, another quote, I love quotes from A Course in Miracles, infinite patience leads to immediate results. So when we stop trying to mold and change things and, well, we're going to bend time to our will, and we let it happen, and we step back and know that we're part of this divine and it's going to happen, and we release it, it shows up. So that's beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, perfect, perfect. And thank you about releasing that need to control time, yet we do have some kind of influence. And I want Dagmar to share a little bit of her thoughts.
Well, my invitation to the viewers is to really take in all this conversation and realize that time is not set in stone. So come on, let's become a little bit more relaxed about it and playful, and look at the life as a chain of events that we can mold to our desires and play with, and not get hung up on this reality, because a lot of times we get influenced on what we believe we can or cannot do. We hear that, oh, this idea is stupid, or hey, you know what, I don't know, it's going to be too difficult for you. Come on, let's play. Let's throw those multidimensional toys of time and space and say, well, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. And when we approach life with a little bit more playfulness, I think it becomes just a little bit easier.
Awesome. Play, and
Playtime.
yeah, absolutely. What'd you say, Galit?
Playtime.
Playtime. You bet. You bet. So, okay. So, Dorina, I want you to finish with your thoughts here around playtime and physics, however you
Well,
want to.
you know, that feeds in perfectly to what I was going to say, is the whole issue of sprezzatura. And sprezzatura, some of us in Italy are really, really, really good at looking like we are doing nothing. And then just stuff gets accomplished. You know, you write papers, you get degrees, you do this and that, but you appear as though it's completely effortless and you're doing nothing. And that ties into what Dagmar was talking about. Just let it be, play, have fun, enjoy yourself. Because in the end, there is no such thing as time in the objective sense, and you're going to be able to revisit anything you want when you're done here. So there you go.
Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. I'm sure a lot of our audience has their antenna way out going, whoa, what? You know, and wanting more. You know, this has been a fascinating, timely show, because today is in at least in North America, we've turned our clocks forward, spring ahead. We are governed by time with the seasons, with everything in our days and nights. I mean, everything is run by time, isn't it? And, you know, I just want to say thank you to my incredible guests and to the audiences that have been joining us, whether live or on replay. And next week, we are going to have a wonderful show with Kim O'Neill, who is going to be our Fab Five host for that show. So until then, make every moment count in your day. And with that, we are going to say goodbye and thank you for joining us again. As I'm taking the time to find